Go.
This is All About Wine, the talk show dedicated to the wine industry since 2009. Featuring winemaker, cellar master, vineyardist, and tasting expert, Ron.
Basically, what we're trying to do on this program is just trying to educate people and trying to make wine less confusing and more friendly.
From coast to coast and around the world.
You know, we really have had some...
What'd you do?
I paused it.
You know what, though? It's not muting us like it used to. Remember?
Whoa! You're getting
We're
this
talking...
echo.
Huh? Getting
you're
what?
really echoing. And me too. I can hear my voice in an echo.
On program.
Right, I
love that.
Post your questions and comments during the live show on our Facebook page at www.
All right, are you getting an echo now?
Yes, I am.
Really?
Yeah, and you're sounding like you're in the basement and calling up to me. You got a weird echoey sound yourself.
Well, this isn't good. And you're on here twice now.
Am I? Yeah, I can hear me.
I mean, you're listed as there's two of you in the studio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's probably why I'm coming.
Let me see if I can remove you here.
Yeah.
Hold on. All right, try it now.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, that's what it was.
That's what it was.
There were two. I was like, somebody just joined us, and I went over to the thing. I go, oh, it's Ron. Good. All right.
Facebook.com/allaboutwinebtr. Again, that's www.facebook.com/allaboutwinebtr. And now, All About Wine is on. Yep. Here's Ron.
We can talk over it now.
Yeah.
Thank you, bus people. Thank you.
I don't know how that happened. Well, it's a learning experience, folks. So
I'll tell you, it took me a long time just to get hooked up. We are still learning.
Yeah.
I'm liking Restream though. It's and I'll tell you one thing about Restream. They keep me informed of what's going on. I'm getting emails and little pop-ups and all that from them. And 90% of it's useless, but that 10% there is worth it. So they're pretty good about that.
Yeah, it has been so far. So we are live.
We are live. Facebook, and I'm getting a lot of people too that are tuning into the show. I get notifications, on email, and there's been some good numbers popping up this past week.
All right.
I don't know why all of a sudden, but maybe Restream is the reason. I don't know. Okay, let's see. Microphone. No. Okay, what does that say? No, I don't want to mute. Enable camera. Yeah, fat chance. Okay. Invite guests. What happens there? Invite up to 10 guests. Oh, okay. Still trying to get used to this. Sorry, people. Okay.
It's a process.
It is a process, yeah. Sometimes fun, sometimes not so. But it is a process. Well, welcome to All About Wine. It is January the 9th, 7:05 in the year 2025. I saw something on the internet the other day, yesterday. It says, here it is, January the 8th. Was that 8 seconds or was that 8 whole days? And I thought about it for a minute. And I mean, we've been in January over a week now. This has been going fast for some reason, it seems like. So to me, I suppose if you're miserable, then you're not going fast. But been a fast week. So we got stuff to talk about tonight. Nothing earth-shattering, nothing really important, but I've got some news for you. And I've also found some things, and I get the San Francisco Chronicle because, well, I lived outside of San Francisco and I grew to like the newspaper. And also, they have quite a few articles about Napa or wine or whatever, because they are in California and they try to keep us up on that. What's this stuff down here? No, okay. Just looking at stuff on my studio here, trying to find out what's what. So, just things to tell you, some news. We might not cover the hour tonight. Well, we should, though. Yeah, I always tend to find something to talk about, don't I? So, let's go to this and see what we've got here. San Francisco, the San Francisco Chronicle, and there's some articles there. Also pulled up some other stuff that I thought was rather interesting. So this is one I put to me a long time ago, back in, let's see, when was it? I don't see a date on this. But the article says, toast to women who built Champagne Empire. And France, obviously. But Haley Bennett stars as Barbie Nicole Pansardin Cloquet. I think that's how it's pronounced, Cloquet. She was the woman who invented champagne as we know it. And there's a movie, The Widow Cloquet. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's famous champagne. I don't know how to pronounce it. But she was alive from 1777 to 1866. And she actually put champagne as we know it on the map. It's an interesting story. I've read the story, and all the time I read it, I really wasn't sure how to pronounce the name. So, but Vive Cloquet, Clicquot. And since it's French, I'm not sure what letters to drop on that. Most of us who have drank Veuve, Veuve, I think it's Veuve, Cloquet, including those people in France who drank it, probably never realized that the word Veuve, Veuve, means widow. Oh, there you go. So she named the company after her, the Widow Cloquet, because her husband died, and that's how she got it. And so the movie is out, or is coming out, or is out, or in production. I'm not sure the timeline on it here. It doesn't say, but says it's a romance during the flashbacks and a business story otherwise. Both aspects of the film inform the other. We'll call it the other. Romantic storyline gives the film an undertone of loss and longing, while the business storyline lends consequences to the flashbacks. So it should be interesting. It should be a good movie. The woman who invented champagne, and it's follows her life and what she does, and when she fails from a business point, and then pulls herself up by the bootstraps, if you will. It's directed by Thomas Naper, Napper, if you're into the directors. He's best known for his work in Anna Karenina and Darkest Hour. But here it says he takes on a rather ambitious story in terms of quality, and it's really turned out quite well. So there you go. Veuve, Cloquet, name of the movie. Or actually, the name of the movie is Widow Cloquet. So, Widow, which is just what I said, only in French. Okay, let's get this out of here and look at the next one. Let's see. Oh, this next one, I've had this for a long time. This has been sitting here in my box since October the 9th. But Napa Valley Vineyard that was destroyed in wildfire last year. No, it was 2017. It was rebuilt after the fire in 2017. The Segassia, Segassi, Segassia Vineyard Estate in Napa Valley is on the market now for $5.5 million. Which, Napa, that doesn't really shock anyone. 15-acre property. It's on Mount Vita Road, which is a good name there. Has potential to build more. And it says the estate features an award-winning 5-acre vineyard known for producing Cabernet Sauvignon under labels such as Hall and Nicholson Jones. Mount Vita, characterized by steep slopes and complex soils, is widely known as an ideal terroir for high tannin acidic wines, and it is. That's a good area for that there. The current owner is Chris Cates, who is a retired cardiologist, and his son, who managed Segassia since acquiring it in 2010 for $2.7 million. They're going to make a little profit, aren't they? Following the catastrophic Tubbs fire, the Cates family underwent significant restoration work on the estate, which saw its structures and 1,500 redwood trees decimated. Oh, that's sad. Their restoration efforts included planting 150 redwoods along the property's creek and introducing an advanced water management system. So there you go. It goes in and tells you a little bit about the advanced system. But renovative efforts, they developed a patent technique to convert smoke-tainted wine grapes into raisins, launching a snack line named Rayzyns, Rayzyns, Raisins. That's cute. Current estate includes a 1,140 square foot guest house with 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and radiant floor heating. And additionally, a rustic barbecue pit constructed from remnants of a former winery serves as a nod to the property's history. So, $5.5 million for a winery that has been restored after the fires in 2015. Did I say? Well, I did say 2017. And boy, that's 7 years ago now. When you start looking at 8, isn't it? If you 7.5. So if you got an extra 5.5 million around, then it would be a good investment. I'm not being facetious. It really would. Okay, let's see what else we got here. This is good. I'm getting to talk about this stuff. This is something. This is from, again, these are all from San Francisco Chronicle. October the 5th. Yeah, October 5th. And seriously, Ridge Vineyard in Napa is making a wine now called Valdigu, Valdigu Help me. I can't pronounce it. Valdigue? I don't know. But it is one of California's classic grapes. And, California really doesn't have any kind. For decades, it was misidentified as a Napa Gamay. And now they're finding out that it isn't. It's a Valdigue. And so it's popular among small natural wine producers who often make it an easy drinking Nouveau style using the carbonic maceration method. This process of fermenting grapes in a carbon dioxide filled tank typically results in juicy wines with virtually no tannins, an almost fizzy mouthfeel, and flavors of bubblegum and banana, none of which feels like Ridge, which is the winery here, which has stuck to the same minimal 19th century winemaking techniques for over 50 years. Okay, so let's see what else does that say here. It's now having a reverse effect because it's increasingly difficult to get the feel for these gritty early years of California wine revolution. There's a growing nostalgia for a casual, no-fuss tasting experience of old, and Ridge remains one of the few holdouts that does that. Ridge is firmly who Ridge is, says winemaker Shauna Rosenblum. In the 90s, everyone got into making these high-octane wines that were 16, 17% alcohol. But Ridge never jumped on that trend. Yeah, I remember some of those wines too. Geez, it was, they were just, all you can taste was alcohol. I mean, it was just unbelievable. I don't know why it was a trend, like you said. Ridge's two wineries, let's see, it says they stuck to what was referred to as pre-industrial winemaking, which was minimal intervention. And they said that a term that's used a lot today. This includes native yeast fermentations that always land around 14% alcohol, maybe even a little less. Ridge's two wineries, Montebello in the Santa Cruz Mountains and Lytton, 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 Lytton Springs and Hillsburg, look pretty much as they did when they were constructed. So they haven't been hit by fires or anything. They do have that wine, Valdigue, for $38 at Ridge. They said it's a classic producer, and very often you don't see the classic producer step up and do classic wines. They also make wines with California grapes like Charbono and Petit Syrah, and they using blends and stuff like that. And this is this classic Napa blend with those. Frog's Leap Winery in Napa has been doing a blend with Valdigue, Charbono, and Petit Syrah. And they said it was once a classic Napa blend, and now, since most people don't know what the Valdigue, they did a little research and they found out that it was used a lot right after Prohibition, and people used it as a table wine back then. They will release the blend of the three grapes as the 2022 Frederiani Ranch wine for $42 this year sometime. And so this is creating some gateway wines for the younger generation is the way to go. The Cabernet might be less accessible to a new wine drinker, but Ridge Winery will kind of always stay in Ridge's Lane, which I think has worked for us so far. So there you go. A found grape being put up by Ridge Winery, which they say it's an easy drinking wine, red wine. Okay, let me get rid of this. Let me find what's next. Okay. Oh, this is also out of the San Francisco Chronicle. This dated September 26th last year. I saved this because I thought I would be able to get a hold of him about this and back in Halloween time, but I couldn't get a hold of the right person. Every time I call, they say, "Oh no." Okay, at the risk of tarnishing my journalistic integrity, I have something to admit. I believe in ghosts. Now, this is being written by reporter Jess Lander, the San Francisco Chronicle. He said, when I heard that Napa Valley Ghost movie was premiering at the local theater, he had to see it. Ghost of Napa Valley is the name of it. And the director is Jason Wise, who did the Psalm documentaries. Spooky and funny in equal measure. It follows three friends, including two paranormal skeptics, on their journey to connect with the dead at one of Napa Valley's most notorious haunting grounds, Spring Mountain Vineyard, which was the backdrop for the 1980s soap opera Falcon Crest, if you remember that. But it's haunted. It says, no spoilers, but Ghosts of Napa Valley will validate believers like myself, and at the very least, it may force doubters to dig deep in search of explanations. Wise insists that the film is a documentary that took no liberties. I can't tell you how many times I wanted to lie and do things that mess with the story, he said in a Q&A, but he didn't. Okay, so there you go. That's, well, let me go ahead and tell you more about this. This is long articles. Film doesn't surprise. Napa is riddled with ghost stories, often tied to the region's ghost wineries. By definition, ghost wineries have nothing to do with spirits. This is simply the term used to describe a collection of 1,800 buildings abandoned due to an array of early 20th century hardships, like prohibition. Spring Mountain Vineyard has 3 of these old buildings on its estate. Many of these ghost wineries were revived decades later, like Far Ninth, Freemark Abbey, Chateau Montelena, and Hall Wines, but some have remained deserted. Says the term ghost wineries is not meant to imply that these buildings are haunted. There's a widespread belief that many of them are. And so Wise, the director, sets out to prove that they are. He says, as an aside here, I've talked to some people in Napa and all that, and they're haunted buildings. It's everyone seems to have some sort of paranormal story about an area around them that is haunted, and wineries tend to be for some reason, very popular place to be haunted. Joy Neighbors, a friend of All About Wine, I guess she's still doing her blogs. I don't know. It's been 3-4 years since we've talked to her. It's been some time. But she's written a book on cemeteries, a grave. What is it?
A grave interest.
Of grave interest. Thank you. Yeah. I couldn't think of it. She wrote a book of grave interest and telling about about graveyards and what the stones mean on it. Very interesting book. If you get a chance, you can get it on Amazon. It's any other book place. A Grave Interest by Joy Neighbors, and she does a good job on it. But she's been on a couple times. She believes in ghosts. She has said ghost stories that she shared with us, and all that is interesting show. Really quite. We need to get her on again. I really do need to get her over and see what she's doing and all that. Last I heard, she was working for a winery in Virginia, I believe, if I remember correctly. Yeah, or Indiana or Illinois. I don't know. She's in that part of the country, so I have to get a hold of her and see if we can't get her on. But one of the things I was talking to her about, we found that whenever you start talking about the type of ghost that you're going to see, the type of ghost that's around all that, when you're east of the Mississippi, a lot of them are Civil War soldiers. For some reason, you see a lot of Civil War ghosts. Well, that's where the war was fought. Why not? You say, Ron? That's makes sense that you see a lot of those. You go west of the Mississippi, and it's old horse soldiers and Indians. These are the types of ghosts that you see there. And it's just the way the country was built, I guess, is why you see that. But when you start seeing ghosts on this, so this film is about the ghosts that settle. Is about a dozen Napa Valley wineries are haunted. They have their own ghosts and all that. Most of them don't tell you and don't say anything about it because they don't want people to be scared away. Flora Springs Winery has the most open about it. It's spooky roots and even haunted ghost tours at now what is called Cathcart Vineyard. Property has an 1885 ghost winery that was significantly destroyed in a fire, but was later restored. And so they have ghosts haunting that. And there's also a winery in St. Helena, Faust House, which opened its Gothic chic tasting room inside the 1870s Victorian mansion. And they said that's haunted. They're getting ghosts that appear there. And some of the favorites, they said, it comes from St. Helena Winery AXR. Its wine history dates back to 1880s. And during Prohibition, it worked as a drinking establishment and a brothel. And so they have stories, they say, different things that have happened there. And this is the spirits protected the property in 2020. They said when the glass fire burned, everything burned around them, but it did not affect that winery there. So I say that winery there. That's Faust House, FAUSTHAUS, Faust House. And they said they believe the ghosts protect them. The film is out. It was released October the 11th. Ghost of Napa Valley is the name of it. And it's on Psalm TV. And that's a wine and food streaming service that offers a 3-day free trial. So if you want to get on it and check out this movie, you can check it out in 3 days. It's available. But Psalm TV, I looked at Psalm TV. It's had enough stuff there, but I don't know. Prescription cost was a little bit high, and I felt for as little as I would use it. But I'm stuck on using others about that much too, so it would make a big difference, I guess. But you can check it out yourself. Psalm TV, SOMM. And check Ghost of Napa Valley. All right. I should save that and look at going those links there to those wineries. Maybe we can start getting people set up for next Halloween. All right. Thinking way ahead here now. Okay. This next one. No, don't want that. No, don't want that. Don't want that. This is a wine video. Oh, yeah. Okay. I think I can put this up. Oh, be quiet. I think I can put this up on our Facebook page. This is the ancient origins of wine. It's a 5-minute, 45-second video. It's pretty good. I've watched it. It's put out by 1440. 1440 is a news channel I subscribe to. It's yeah, pretty good channel. It's got a lot of information on it, and it sums up everything. Oh, my engineer just brought in wine. Oh, the Federalist. We've had that. I like the Federalist. It's a good wine. So I've got the Federalist tonight. Let me tell you about it, and then I'll get into it. First, let me take a sip. I like it. Even the first sip is good. Okay, called the Federalist. Picture of Abraham Lincoln on it. It is the Federalist Honest. Oh, that makes sense since you got Abe on it, right? Okay, and called Honest. And it is a red blend. It says on the front label also a union of Cabernet Sauvignon, Zinfandel, Syrah, Merlot, and Carignan grapes from renowned California vineyards. So that's pretty good heritage there. Cabernet Sauvignon, Zinfandel, Syrah, Merlot, and Carignan. Oh, good. The back says, okay, we know Abe Lincoln wasn't a Federalist, but we think his efforts to preserve the Union make him plenty worthy to sit alongside the founding fathers with this rich, full-bodied red blend. Our 61% Cabernet Sauvignon, 25% Zinfandel, 7% Syrah. That gives us the dark colors too. The Syrah can be dark. 6% Merlot and 1% Carignan is crafted of grapes harvested from renowned California vineyards. This is a taste for the ages. Honest. Okay, 14.5% alcohol, 750 milliliter, 2019 is our date on it. That's it. That's all the information it gives. Government warning, but that's all the information it gives. This is good. I have had this before, and it is a good wine. A little alcoholic to start with. She just opened it, so it's probably going to be. Let me swirl it and see if that does anything to it. It is dark, though. I like that. Oh, yeah, that's good. That's got a good aroma to it. I can't figure it out.
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
That was, what was this on Facebook? From Thomas. So we'll ask this real quick. Can you talk about why Russian, wow, I don't know what that explosion was. Can you talk about why Russian River Valley produces some of the best grapes?
Okay. Well,
little on the spot question there.
Yeah, the location, location. I mean, we've heard this for years and years about real estate and stuff, and it's very true there. Look where the Russian River Valley is. And the valley itself stays pretty cool. You start getting up into the hills, and your microclimates are phenomenal in Russian River Valley, just like Napa and Sonoma. The same type of thing. You got your microclimates. And so when you start getting different microclimates, obviously they're experts, they're professionals. They know what's going to grow well in a certain climate and stuff like that. And so they're utilizing these areas that stay cool all the time with the proper grapes in there are the ones that tend to get a little bit hotter. They put the grapes in there that can stand the heat, and half and half, the thing, and it's got a good wind flow in it, which is good because you're not getting a bunch of diseases or growth or anything on the grapes. With the wind flow, it keeps it off of it. Oh geez, I'm having a problem thinking of my word. What word am I looking for? The uh, mold. That's the word I'm looking for. Keeps the mold from growing on it and all that. And so you have good climate, good grapes, good harvest. You got long enough days that the grapes have plenty of time in the summer to ripen properly. You have good weather because of the hills around it and in the valley, and it just makes for some great flavored grapes and some great wine. And so that's the reason Russian River Valley is so expensive and creating such great wines because of the microclimates in there. A lot of places get grapes from Russian River Valley too. You start looking on some of these labels and you'll start seeing Russian River Valley pop up more than you would expect because of that. So hope that helped you. Hope that answered your questions. Thanks for asking us on that too. I will put this video up. This is by 1440 Daily. It's a good news source. But this is the ancient origin of wine. 5-minute and 54-second, 5-minute and 45-second video. And it's basics, but it's worth a listen. So I'll get that popped up onto the onto our Facebook, our webpage. I don't know, whatever I think is easiest for me to do, because okay, and so that takes care of that. Let's see, wine video. This isn't wine, but this is something I saw and I thought, oh, there you go. I'm always talking about millennials and Gen X and Gen Zs and all that stuff. This is the breakdown. And what's the generation mean and all that. So this it says, let's see, where were you when the space shuttle Challenger exploded? The answer to that question is just one example of how generations identify with a shared experience. Boomers have watched from a break room at the office or heard about it on the radio. Many Gen X sat in a classroom and watched live television. And 36-year-old Christina McAuliffe was one of that blew up in that, perished in that. Earliest millennials may have witnessed this moment too, but would probably not remember it. I guess another one that defining moment for a generation was the assassination of Kennedy. Everybody seems to remember where they were and what they were doing then. Same thing as 9/11. So there's always that. It says 44% of Americans living today and growing today who were born after the disaster in January 1986 did not share in the impact of the Challenger explosion. 44% of the Americans were not alive then. So what I've got here is a breakdown and chart of I'll tell you in a second here. But first, this is an interesting little thing here. It talks about the number of people born. The boomers, baby boomers, were quite a large chunk of people overall from the ones since then. We have the boomers have been the most. Gen X, little peaks and little valleys in there, but not a whole lot. That was when some of the early boomers were having kids. The Challenger explosion happened. What did they say here? 90. Oh, I can't remember. I just read it there and I lost it now. But the millennials were next. 9/11 was the Gen Zs and the Gen Alpha COVID lockdowns. But let me go into the years of these and how they set this up. I don't know. They give it a generation, but it just seems odd. Some of these really do. The silent generation, born between 1928 and 1945. That's ages 79 to 96. There is one before them, a generation before them. I know there is because that would be what my mother-in-law belongs to. She is 105. And let's see if I have it written down here. I know I have it because, well, that's not it. Am I going to find it? Yes, I am. Here it is. Okay. The Greatest Generation is the first one. That's from 1901 to 1927. I don't know where they get the names, but the Greatest Generation. I need to take a sip of wine. Here it is. That's opened up, set out, very nice, plummy flavors to it. Fruity plum. I mean, not the plums are fruity anyway, but I'm thinking of other dark fruits on that. Some blackberry taste, not a lot of tannins. And the alcohol is pretty well balanced too with everything else. I've had it before and I've always loved this wine. I want to say around $20 down here in Florida. I don't know what it would be everywhere, but probably around the same. But if you ever see it, get it. The Federalist, the red blend. This is good. Okay, Greatest Generation, 1901 to 1927. And then the Silent Generation were between 1928 and 1945. They're 79 to 96 now. Baby Boomers, born between 46 and 64. That seems like a big gap to me for some reason, but it's only 18 years. Ages 60 to 78. And Generation X, born between 65 and 80. And they're 44 to 59-year-old now. Millennials, between 81 and 96. And they're 28 to 43 now. I just realized my daughter is a Gen X and my son is a millennial. They're right, both of them at the cusp there. Gen Z is next. These are born between 97 and 2012. And they're 12 to 27 years old now. And then Gen Alpha, they don't call them Gen Alpha, born between 2013 and today. And they're 11 years old. They'll probably cut it off at like 18 years. But that is Gen Alpha. 2010 to 2024 was Gen Alpha. 2024 is past. Now, babies born now are Gen Beta, BETA, Gin Beta, and that will be 2025 to 2039. And Generation Gamma is 2040 to 2054. That's a short period there. That's only 14 years. That doesn't seem right. Well, that's what I copied down when I copied it down. But those are the ones coming up. We got Alpha, Beta, and Gamma. The ones who they're always talking about who are not drinking, the ones they're talking about who is messing with the wine stats and all that, the millennials born 81 to 96, 28 to 43 years old. These are the ones that they're saying is causing the hardships on wine now because they're not drinking. And what they do, they're more for the mixed drink in a can, cooler pops and stuff like that. Gen X is starting to get up there old enough now that they're not affecting the sales of it as much. For some reason, it just seems like they get older and it starts taking a toll on it one way or the other. But those are the generations. Those are generation gaps. So, let's see, was this show here? Baby boomers. This is broken down by ethnic, and it shows that baby boomers, white baby boomers, are far outnumber all the other baby boomers. In almost all the categories. But it was after the war, and there was a big explosion of babies then. So, pretty interesting article. They go into their stuff. I was looking at it. Let me come over here and save this so I can look at it more closely before I wipe it out. And let's see. No, that's not. Nope. Here we go. This is another interesting one. A Sonoma County winemaker had spoken out about the sugar levels in Miyamomys, is it? I can't, for some reason, get my tongue around that name right now. You see it advertised all the time. MEIOMI. But the Sonoma County winemaker has been talking about sugar levels. Well, he got a letter from the lawyers of Miyamomys. Says it was a display at a Ranch Mart Wine and Spirits in Kansas that started the dispute. And it says that Wine and Spirits store in Leawood, Kansas was caught up in the middle of a false advertising dispute. Miyami? I want to say Miyami. Advertisement marketing display at Ranch Mart Wine and Spirits, located about 1 mile from the Kansas-Missouri border, features boxes of Miyami stacked against eye-catching orange and blue boxes of a lesser-known Pinot called Dial Tone. Above the bottles, an ad for Dial Tone, produced by Sonoma County winemaker Adam Lee, reads, "There is less sugar in 32 bottles of Dial Tone Pinot Noir than in just 1 bottle of Miyami Pinot Noir." Miyami's parent company, Constellation Brands, which is a conglomerate, caught wind of the display, and on September 25th, Lee received a sternly worded letter from the conglomerate's lawyers. It demanded that Lee provide evidence to support his claims and suggested his ad may violate a federal law prohibiting false advertising. Constellation welcomes competition in the marketplace, the letter stated, so long as such competition is fair and does not mislead customers. All right. Constellation which acquired Meiomi from the founder Joe Wagner in 2015, is the fourth largest wine producer in the country. Lee says that his first reaction was poking the bear a little bit. Studies show that transparency is an increasingly important company value to food and beverage consumers. Lee's ad dares to make a contentious wine industry secret public knowledge. Wines that share the same shelf as the supermarket can have widely varying levels of residual sugar, which refers to the amount of sugar left unfermented, and it still all be classified as dry, which means not sweet in wine. It is widely known that the average American drinker prefers wines with some sweetness, which is true. People tend to lean toward that. Let's see. Commercially available wines are not very well made and not very honest about what is in the bottle, said Travis Johnson, the Ranchmark general manager. Meiomi is pretty much used as a pejorative when it comes to fine wines in the industry. It tastes like a laboratory project. So he concluded with an offer to sell Constellation a couple bottles of Daltone so the company can conduct their own test. Just send me the credit card information, the letter quipped. He's not too worried about a potential lawsuit, stating the numbers are what the numbers are. Plus, he said his insurance would cover any advertising-related litigation. Similarly, Johnson said he's not concerned that Constellation will pursue legal action against Ranchmark and doesn't plan to take this display down. It's a great conversation starter, said Johnson, and a great way to convert people to drink things based on what they like, not just based on what's a great marketing budget tells them. So there you go. Daltone offers people an inexpensive Pinot Noir alternative to other brands like Meiomi. It says Daltone goes for 24. It's 24. Oh no, Daltone sells for 36, whereas Meiomi costs 24. That's at Ranchmark. He says it sells cheaper elsewhere. Well, that's strange. You would sell your wine cheaper elsewhere. He says he doesn't use artificial additives like oak chips or cheaper alternatives to oak barrels. And he says he's keeping it up. They said that, here we go. The sugar levels were lower for both 18.4 grams per liter for Meiomi and 0.4 for Daltone. Well, it is quite a bit more, isn't it, if you start looking at it? So, there you go. That's a lawsuit that happened that didn't happen. I'm sure we get a lot of those. Cease and desist. I received a cease and desist letter when I had the winery. They sent me a cease and desist letter that said, your name, Plantation Blush, is in violation of ours. We use Plantation Blush, and you need to cease and desist using that name. So I went online and looked up the winery, and the winery was in existence since 2013, and we were in existence before 9/11, and so if anything, and they were located in Virginia, they weren't located in Florida. If anything, we had priority over and everything. So I wrote him a quick letter, and I mean, it was just a quick letter. Sirs, don't waste your money. We are the oldest. And I sent it to him. That was it. Never heard from him again. He probably thought, okay, we won't waste our money. So, it's 5 till. Let me do our weekly feature of going back and giving you some terms, our wine glossary segment of the show. And let me find out where we were last week. What was the last thing we used last week? If I can find it. Oh no. Well, it has to be in the book then, because it's not there. And it's probably right here. No, what did I do with it? Okay, Mike, pull up your great memory and tell me. What was the last one? Let's see.
Acrid?
Acrid
was President Knows
I
Funny?
think Astro. Yeah, that's where I have it stopped on this page. So that seems about right. Acrid. Oh, I want to quickly too make a comment about the wildfires out in California around LA. The winds, Santa Ana winds that came over the mountains, wind gusts of 100 miles an hour pushing that fire. And it is pushing it. Last I heard, or last I read, was over 1,000 buildings have been destroyed. 3 or 4 people have died in the fire. There is actually 4 separate fires. One of them is the big one that has like 8,000 acres that are burned. The next one has 6,000. The next one has less than 1,000. The other one has, 36 acres. But that was as of this morning that I looked all that up. And so I don't know what have happened today. If those winds are still coming in, those numbers very easily could have been doubled by now. So let's hope not. But it's a serious thing out there. No vineyards have been affected as of anything that I have read. There has no vineyards that have been affected. So let's give our thoughts to those people out there, and some movie stars have lost their homes, burned down, stuff like that. It's going right through Malibu and areas there. So bad thing. All right, last week we ended with Astrid. This week we start with aeration. This is a process of encouraging a wine to absorb oxygen, also called breathing. So when you aerate a wine, you let it breathe. Simply pulling the cork out of a bottle may not allow for sufficient air contact. Decanting or even swirling the wine in a glass are preferred methods. Decanting immediately as you're pouring it adds air to it. So I'm a big fan of swirling the wine in a glass myself. The goal is to allow the wine to open up and develop, releasing its aromas into the air. 10 up to 30 minutes of aeration will help open tight young red wines that are meant to age. And that's another thing too. If you're drinking red wines that are meant to be aged, they really do need to be aerated. Some wines can also develop off odors or even a bottle stink that blows off within a few minutes of aeration. And they do. You open up a bottle of wine, you go, ooh, and you pour it out and you aerate it, and then it starts opening up, and it's really nice. So any red wine, get a habit of swirling it in the glass. I'm serious about that. Just any red wine that you have, once you pour it, just swirl it in the glass. Don't just drink it. Since older, 15 plus years, red wines are more delicate and can lose their fruit during aeration. Aeration is not recommended. the wines can evolve quite quickly in the glass. So they're saying that if it's an older wine, don't go crazy on your aeration because it could lose some of the fruitiness. That's aeration. Aeration. Next one, aftertaste. The taste or flavors that linger in the mouth after the wine is tasted. Spit or swallow. I'm not a big fan of spitting. I think it's disgusting, but that's the taste. The aftertaste or finish is the most important factor in judging a wine's character and quality. Great wines have rich, long, complex aftertaste. So that's why people talk about aftertaste so much, is because it is a very critical part of a great wine. Age-worthy describes the small number of top wines that have sufficient flavor, acidity, alcohol, and tannins to gain additional complexities with time in the bottle. Most popular wines are meant to be enjoyed shortly after release and will only diminish with age. So basically what they're saying in this description of age-worthy is not a lot of wines are meant to be aged. Drink them. And I've always said that too. Drink them. Don't try to age wines. Drink them. Most of them are meant to be drank. Most of them are made to be drank. So drink them. There's no reason to try to put them down. They're not going to get any better. If they do get better, it's going to be so subtle that you're probably not going to detect it. And I'm talking to the everyday drinker here. There's people out there that will. So, but most of the time you won't. Okay. Aggressive. This is a term unpleasantly harsh in taste or texture. This is usually due to a high level of tannin or acid. Aggressive wine. You might have heard someone say, oh, that wine was aggressive, or this wine is aggressive. It's usually because the tannins are high or the alcohol is high, and it just it makes you shudder. Aging. Storage in barrels, tanks, or bottles for a period of time allows wine components to knit together or harmonize and develop additional complexities, sometimes referred to as a secondary and tertiary aromas and flavors. Aging really does mellow out a wine. It makes a big difference in the taste if the wine is meant to be aged. If it's not meant to be aged, you're not going to do much for it. So be sure you get them that has the components it needs to develop. Agronomy, agronomy, an agricultural study focused on the collective factors that influence the quality of crops. This includes soil quality, water management, cultivation, ecology, and environmental sustainability. Albarello, and it says see head trained, so we'll get to that later. Alcohol. Ethyl alcohol, a chemical compound formed by the action of natural or added yeast on the sugar content of grapes during fermentation. And that's where you get your alcohol. The sugar is fermented out, and sugar will turn to alcohol. That's why if you want a really alcoholic wine, you can add some chapelization, it's called. We'll get into that later too. Alcohol by volume. As required by law, wineries must state the alcohol level of a wine on its label. This is usually expressed as a numerical percentage of the volume. For table wines, the law allows a 1.5% variation above or below the stated percentage, as long as the alcohol does not exceed 14%. Thus, wineries may legally avoid revealing the actual alcohol content of their wines by labeling them as table wine. And that way they can vary the alcohol level. A little trick to get around the law. Alcoholic, used to describe a wine that has too much alcohol for its body and weight, making it unbalanced. A wine with too much alcohol will taste uncharacteristically heavy or hot as a result. This quality is noticeable in aromas and in aftertaste. You hear someone call a wine hot, that is referring to too much alcohol. Alcohol fermentation, also called primary fermentation. This is the process in which yeast metabolize grape sugars and produce alcohol, carbon dioxide also, and heat. The final product is wine. Allier, A-L-L-I-E-R. It's a forest in France that produces oak used for wine barrels. Ambient yeast. It says see native yeast, so we'll look at that. And then, last one today is American oak, an alternative to French oak for making barrels in which to age wine. Marked by strong vanilla, dill, and cedar notes, it is used primarily for aging Cabernet, Merlot, and Zinfandel, for which it is the preferred oak. It's less desirable, although used occasionally, for Chardonnay or Pinot Noir. New American oak barrels can be purchased for about half the price of new French oak barrels. That's why they're being used quite a bit. Oak barrels will impart different flavors. You get French oak barrels, it's going to impart a different flavor than American oak or any other oak from anywhere in the world. All of them, if made the same all the way through, going to impart different type of flavors. So, you choose it. A lot of people are using American oak because it's cheaper and they're giving some nice flavors to it. But French oak is still the preferred. And the next one we will start with next week is American Viticulture Area, the AVA. That's easy to remember. So that will be our starting point next week. And I said I didn't know if I had enough to talk for the hour, and I did. I said, yeah, I always do, and I did.
Something hits, and there it is.
That's right. Yeah, that's it.
Yep. Okay. Well, we will close the show on the January the 9th. We'll be back on January the 16th, right here on. God, I almost said Blog Talk Radio.
I know. We got to get used to this and start getting everything.
We are on. We will be there.
That's right.
Next week, January the 16th, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So we'll see you then. Have a great week ahead and a weekend, obviously. And thank you to Thomas for the question on Facebook. I do appreciate that. And, by all means, use that. That's what it's there for. And we'll get it here in the studio. We'll be able to ask your question on air. And, go from there. Thank you very much. Have a great one. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Have a good week. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. And do this.
This concludes tonight's broadcast of All About Wine with your host, Ron. For show information, links to All About Wine on Twitter and Facebook, or to be a guest on this show, visit the show website at www.allaboutwinebtr.com. Archived shows are available for download on iTunes or on our show page at blogtalkradio.com/allaboutwine. Thank you for listening. Drink responsibly, and we'll see you next time on All About Wine.
The video wasn't running on the closing. In fact, it locked up on Kathy Engineering stayed on that the whole time.
Huh. I just watched it on, okay, maybe it was different on social media or something, but it played on the main screen. I don't know.
Hope it worked.
We have to end the stream.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.